Okay, this is the pound dollar. This is the daily chart, and you can see that it has been now over close to 8 months. We are in this sideways pattern, and one of the rules is if we have this big momentum to the upside like this sideways pattern or this acceptance zone should have resolved itself a long time ago into the direction of the prior momentum, which means that the pound should be trading today somewhere around the 108. But thus far, for such a long time, and it's not being able to trade above any of the significant points, and every time it goes above a significant point, it is sold off. It just, I mean, if you take a look at this, the pound just puts its head above the structure point and then it sells off. The 166.62, I mean, you can see how many times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then it just 9 times, 9 attempts to break above the structure point, and it fails and it comes down. That is a sign that the pound is structurally weak. We have also a structural point to the downside, which is the 159.80, and it has been working beautifully for us all of the past 6 months. There's one time and it paid off to the 166. This is the second time. This is the third time, and just a couple of weeks ago it took us from 159.80 all the way up to the 164, and now we're beginning to sell off again. So the pound is extremely volatile, and it is forming a top or a bottom, whichever way you want to look at it. And therefore, if we are going to be trading the pound because of its volatility, and the volatility in this case is the intervention that's coming in, they are just trying to support the pound. So if we are going to be a buyers of the pound, to go long the pound, or we are going to go short the pound, we want to try to go long from the extremes. So I want to be buying it around the 159.80, and I'm going to go short somewhere around the extreme, the 163. Inside this area here, we can expect a lot of volatility, and it's going to be very, very, very hard to trade, especially versus the dollar. But it will give you some excellent moves against the strong currency. So for example, which is the strong currency today? Like we did our homework in the beginning of the session, the two strongest currencies are the yen, then the dollar. So yes, we can see that there is some movement to the dollar, or into the pound, weakness into the pound versus the dollar. But if you take a look at the pound yen, look at the sell-off. It's coming up on your screen. Look at the sell-off. And that is a sign of exactly the dollar and the yen. And that's, you see, Leonard, look at this move. So if you want to be trading the pound, you want to be trading it against the currencies that are, you always want to buy the strongest, and you always want to be selling the weakest. So if I'm going to be trading the pound, then I want to be trading it against the yen, because I can definitely quantify the yen as the strongest. And second, I want to be trading it against the dollar. Also, I want, the Canadian is also weakening, so maybe I can be long the pound CAD. That would be one of the options that we have. So Going back to the dollar, pound dollar, this is quite weak. It is. We're coming 3 days to the downside. We closed below the prior 2 days lows. So this is. So we want to stay short the pound, and we should be looking for a test of the 159.80. We should be looking for the pound to test the 159.80. So I want to be short the pound. And again, it is the same setup that we had in the dollar, but this is much cleaner. We have this capitulation to the downside. We tried to trade above the 161.12 and we have failed. So in this case, I want to be short the pound dollar. And right now, if I have to take any position right now, I can take the pound short. And so, trying to find a buying point. So we can, just to be on the safe side, we will take the short if it trades below the low of the day, which is the 160.70. 160.76, and you should be looking now for a quick push towards the 159.80. If it gets to the 159.80, you need to make a decision right there. If it breaks below the 159.80, you still hold your short, but if it comes back above it, take your profits. Our buying point would be the 160. The 162.42. That will be the first buying point. So anything over here, you're still looking for a retest of these lows because you have this momentum. You're looking. This is nothing but more than a sideways. You're still looking for a retest of the lows or lower lows, and going all the way down to the 159.80. So. Long point in this case, 162. And the short point, 160.76. Okay, my structural point to the downside is still 159.80. This is the same structural point that we had from several weeks ago, and the structure point is a flipping point, and the structure long is the 163.20. In this case now, this is going to be a buying area, so if it gets above the 163, that would be a structure long, and we're looking for it to take it to the upside. Okay?